Hey everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today's video is inspired from a book Grimm's Fairy Tale. Before beginning, please like and subscribe to my hard work. When wishes were still effective in the past, a king had several beautiful daughters, but the youngest was so stunning that whenever the sun shone on her face, it was surprised. A vast dark forest was located not far from the king's castle. There was a well in the woods underneath an ancient lime tree. The king's youngest child went and sat down by the side of the cool fountain when the day was extremely hot. She also took a golden ball, flung it up in the air, and caught it when she got bored. Her favorite toy was this ball. The golden ball that the princess was holding out for a moment did not always land in the tiny hand that she was holding out. It dropped to the ground beyond and then fell directly into the ocean. The king's daughter tried to follow the ball with her eyes, but it disappeared. The bottom of the well could not be seen due to its depth. She started sobbing, then her sobs got louder and louder. Someone asked her, "What ails you, king's daughter? You cry so that even a stone would feel sorry for you." The princess turned her head to the side where the voice was coming from and noticed a frog. He emerged from the sea with his large, hideous head spread out. "Oh, is that you, old water splasher?" the princess asked. "My golden ball has fallen into the well and I am crying for it." "Keep calm and try not to cry. I can assist you. Nevertheless, if I bring up your plaything once more, what would you give me?" The princess responded, "Whatever you will have, dear frog, my clothes, my pearls and jewelry, or even the golden crown that I am donning." The frog said, "Your clothes, pearls, jewelry and golden crown are not attractive to me. I'll go below and bring your golden ball back up if you love me and let me sit next to you at your table and let me take a nap in your little bed." "Sure," the princess replied. "I promise you everything you want." But she reflected, "What a silly frog. He merely croaks while sitting in the water beside the other frogs. He cannot be a human's partner in any way." The frog sunk down after receiving the promise and submerged his head in the water. He soon returned, swimming up with a ball in his mouth. The king's daughter was overjoyed to see her toy again. She grabbed it and took off running. The following day, the princess sat at the same table as the king and the nobility. She was consuming food off her tiny golden plate. Something climbed the marble stairs with a slow splashing motion. It climbed to the top and rapped on the door. The object shouted out, "Princess, open the door!" The princess dashed outward to see who was there. The frog was waiting for her when she opened the door. Despite being rather afraid, she slammed the door shut and sat down to dine once more. The king asked, "My child, what do you fear so much? Is there a giant trying to drag you away outside?" The princess replied, "It's a filthy frog, not a giant." King said, "What is the frog trying to get from you?" "Dear father, yesterday I was playing by the well while sitting in the forest. My precious ball landed in the ocean. For me, the frog brought it out once more. He insisted, so I made him a commitment that he would go with me." The frog shouted, "Princess," after knocking again. "Help me by opening the door." The king said, "You must fulfill what you have pledged. Please allow him in." The door was opened by the princess. She was followed to her chair by the frog, who hopped in. He sat there while screaming, "Lift me up beside you." The princess didn't act up until the king gave the order. The frog wanted to be on the table as soon as he was up on the chair. "Push your tiny golden plate closer to me so that we can eat together," he remarked, when he was seated at the table. She did, but it was clear that she wasn't doing it gladly. The frog loved the meal. However, She nearly choked on every bite she took. The frog finally replied, I have eaten and I'm pleased. Now I'm worn out. Bring me into your tiny space and prepare your tiny silk bed. We lay down and get some rest. The princess of the king started to sob. She was terrified of the icy frog that was about to take up residence in her lovely spotless bed. But the king became furious. She then carried the frog upstairs and placed him in a corner while holding him in her two fingers. However, he snuck up to her while she was in bed. He said, I'm tired and want to sleep like you do. If you don't pick me up, I'll tell your father. The princess was extremely upset. He was thrown into the wall by her all strength. She commanded the dreadful frog to be silent. However, as he collapsed, it was King's son with good-natured and attractive eyes, not a frog anymore. He confessed to her that an evil witch had cursed him. Only she was capable of delivering him. He was now her beloved friend and husband under the instructions of her father. They would enter his realm jointly the following day. After that, they fell asleep. The following morning, 8 white horses pulled a carriage as it approached. They were bound with golden chains and wore ostrich plumes on their heads. Faithful Henry, the young prince's servant, stood behind. Henry had been quite upset when his master was changed into a frog. 3 iron bands were positioned around his heart. The chains were meant to prevent his heart from overflowing with sorrow and pain. Henry was so faithful as he assisted them both and sat behind. The king heard a cracking after they had traveled a short distance. He whirled around and exclaimed, Henry, the carriage is breaking. Henry replied, Master, it's not the carriage, not at all. It is the band that I have in my heart. When you were a frog and confined in the well, I put it there out of incredible agony. But something kept breaking over and over again. The prince believed the carriage was breaking every time. However, just the bands were bursting from the faithful Henry's heart, since his master was free and content.